The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Yes,
Indeed, I rather believe he did. I had some
Respect to any other leading character, is not one.
totally wrong, I assure you.
I have suspected it for some time.
That does seem as if...
Ah, Louis, I've been expecting you. Thank you for joining us. We are about to begin our conference. Let me explain what is at stake.
Thank you kindly, but what do you expect of me exactly? My mother's the one who's supposed to attend, not me.
That is indeed what was initially intended. Unfortunately, she still hasn't been found, and my guests can't stay here indefinitely. The conference must begin, and it would be truly beneficial to the Order to join in the project. Consequently, I would like you to replace her during her absence. What is at stake here is of the utmost importance.
It's important that the French Order gets their say. And should you need any advice, don't worry, you are not alone, Louis.
Very well. Can you give me a brief explanation of the aim of it all?
Of course, Louis, I was coming to that. The aim of these meetings is to bring together the most influential people in order to think together about the future.
But the future of who?
Of the world, Louis.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
In concrete terms, how do you organize your discussions?
A conference is always organized the same way. There are two masters of ceremony who determine an important subject.
You and Sir Gregory, I presume.
Exactly. We shall be the masters of ceremony. It was our obligation to each bring to the table several guests in order to debate a subject. Once the debate is closed, a decision will be made by a vote of all the participants.
By a unanimous vote. If the project is not agreed on by all, then it will be rejected.
And neither of the two masters of ceremony have the right to vote.
It's up to the guests alone to decide, Louis. In other words, us.
Gregory and myself are merely the go-betweens. Finally, if the project is validated, each guest goes home and starts working to make it happen.
It can take years.
How long have you been active?
Oh, this tradition has more or less always existed, Louis. It has continued from generation to generation.
Do you often hold this kind of society dinner?
In general, once a year, but in actual fact it tends to be events that dictate our gatherings.
Can you give me an example of an event that was decided here before being implemented in the outside world?
Well, take the French Revolution. It was decided right here 2 years before its implementation in France.
Concerning the case of the French Revolution, I wasn't invited. But as far as the American Revolution is concerned, Louis, I can testify that we planned it 5 years before implementing it, for example.
Louis, let me keep you a moment. I would like to let you in on a secret before we begin, because I'm going to need your assistance. You see, the project I'm going to present concerns the territory of Louisiana in North America. It's currently Spanish territory, and I'm going to make the proposition to the Assembly for it to become French. My idea is to increase the territory of the United States. The first stone of this vast project consists of getting Spain to cede Louisiana to France. Once it becomes French, France will hand it over to the United States, which will then allow them to double the size of their territory. And that's where you come in. France and the United States, hand in hand, two democracies illuminating the world.
I understand, but what do you expect of me?
I want the Order's support. I'm going to need allies to carry forth my project, in France as well as in all the countries where the Order operates. The concept of royalty is from bygone times. It is time to lead the way to democracy. Take a look at them. Apart from President Washington, they all belong to monarchies. Do you really think they won't resist? Of course they'll fight, fearful as they are of losing their precious privileges. But the world needs visionaries, like you, like your mother. It's a pity Sarah isn't here to see it. She only knew about a tiny part of the project. I hope I can count on you, Louis. It's time to start now. I must ask you to keep it to yourself for the time being. Take a seat, follow the discussions. We'll have an opportunity to catch up later, and you'll be able to let me know your thoughts. My friends, I propose we get started. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come.
The honor is ours, my lord.
As per our custom, here we are all together to discuss the face of tomorrow's world. Even though there may be certain tensions between our nations, I must ask you to keep an open mind. As Sarah de Richet is unable to be among us, please welcome Louis de Richet, who will represent the Golden Order and will vote on its behalf when the time comes.
Welcome among us, Louis.
Welcome, Monsieur.
I hope he'll be more effective than his mother regarding the protection of the King of France. The Order has proved particularly inefficient.
Come, Manuel, you're not going to spoil our visit. The Order's mission was not to protect King Louis XVI, as far as I am aware.
We are talking about a king of divine blood, for goodness sake. It seemed obvious to me he needed protecting. If the Golden Order wants to pride itself on being an influential organization, it should have kept him alive.
Perhaps we may begin, Lord Mortimer.
Certainly. I have a dream that our nations will continue to support each other, more now than ever before. A dream that, for the sake of common good, we will do what it takes to ensure stability in the modern world. I have a dream that we shall lead by example and ensure that the American territory may remain in peace.
Thank you for the thought, Lord Mortimer, but I don't see where you're leading.
I'm coming to it, Mr. President. I need not remind you that North America is currently divided between the United States on the east coast and Spain, which occupies the remaining 2/3 of the continent. Well, I propose that Spain cede the center of the continent to France, namely all of Louisiana.
Louisiana? But, well, it is not for sale. Lord Mortimer, I sincerely hope I have not come all this way just to hear you ramble on about what Spain should and should not do. When we went to all the trouble of gaining the territory a few years ago, it was not just to lose it today. Have I made myself clear?
What did I tell you, William? You speak of union, and yet here you are, about to tear us apart.
Duke Manuel, I perfectly understand you. But rest assured, you will soon adore my proposition. You shall see.
Well, since you give me the choice, my good fellow, allow me to doubt it. However, I am impatient to hear what Spain could possibly gain from the sale of Louisiana.
I never spoke of a sale, my good fellow.
What? But I do not understand.
There is one more territory left to conquer, if I'm not mistaken, in the northwest. It is, of course, occupied by your notorious Indians, but...
We shall soon be rid of the savages, so that is not a question.
Duke, these savages, as you call them, were there before you. They are on their homeland.
As much as the black people of Africa, Monsieur de Richet. That does not stop your dear France from massacring them and sending them like cattle to Mr. Washington's cotton plantations to provide him with cheap labor. So you keep your morals to yourself, if you please.
Senor, I would not like to be associated with that. The subject of black slaves in the United States of America is a complex subject, which we shall resolve at a future date.
Senor Godoy, you must know that France will soon ban these barbaric practices.
Oh, do not get on your high horse, Monsieur Frenchman. The only reason why France has ceased trading in slaves is because of the commercial blockade that Great Britain has imposed against you. The instant the shipping lanes have been restored, France will again treat these people like cattle.
Come now, my friends. Let us not digress. Anyway, these primitive people have no souls, Louis. We bring the good word to them in order to save them. You'll see. Colonization brings with it many benefits, too.
Excuse me, if you don't mind, Your Eminence, I shall continue. Duke Manuel, I believe that Spain should cede Louisiana to France, free of charge.
This is utterly grotesque, Lord Mortimer. What a strange example you set for your young protégé. Isn't that so, Monsieur de Richet? Do you understand anything of this proposition?
If I were you, Senor Godoy, I would think twice before stirring up a scandal.
I beg your pardon?
Given the size of your colonies, you won't be able to keep them for long. A number of countries are eyeing them as we speak. The United States would have no trouble taking them. For all intents and purposes, you have no army in place. By wanting to keep everything, you risk losing it all, especially your colonies in South America, which are far more valuable to you.
That is indeed the danger, Duke Manuel. If it comes to war over Louisiana, you will lose. And probably a good deal more than you now imagine.
Young man, you are indeed a dark horse, aren't you?
I must say, William, I find your project mostly disfavors me. I thought you were my friend.
And I am, Mr. President. That is why I'm doing everything in my power to calm your expansionist fervor. France, in Louisiana, should persuade you not to attempt anything to take the territory by force. Louisiana is a vast wetland where you would needlessly lose most of your troops. It would weaken you and offer certain nations the perfect opportunity to take back your famous United States. I am protecting you from yourself, George. Trust me.
I understand. But with friends like you, sir, I certainly don't need any more enemies. I hope you know what you're doing.
Am I imagining things, or does it look like Washington isn't aware of Mortimer's plan?
Not to put too fine a point on it, Lord Mortimer, but I doubt the Holy See would be in favor of Catholic Louisiana being handed over to secular revolutionaries and king killers.
I should think Monsieur de Richet has an opinion on this subject, does he not?
On the maps of Italy I saw in Mortimer's secret study, he had anticipated movements of troops across Italy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's planning an invasion of Italy by France, and if I push the notion a bit further, I can well imagine that Bonaparte's cannons, financed by the Order, will be used for that purpose. The noose is tightening around poor Piaggi's neck without him even realizing it. I don't know if I'm the best person to speak about that, Your Eminence. Well, I think that the French army will enter Italy, and that the Vatican will do whatever France demands of it, if the Vatican wants to retain its place.
You are joking, I hope. Lord Mortimer, I did not come here to listen to such nonsense.
What makes you think that, Monsieur de Richet?
Well, Monsieur Bonaparte, here present, has ordered a large number of cannons, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were to be used to keep Italy under control.
Come, sir. What a strange idea. I have enough on my plate with issues in Corsica.
If you say so.
You see, you're...
But Corsica is not where the cannons are to be delivered, is it?
Aye, but... Louis, you are quick-witted. I like you.
You seem to be overlooking something, Messieurs les Français. I also have backers who would be only too pleased to demonstrate the full extent of their fervor by defending the Vatican. Mi auguro che insegnerete l'educazione a questo giovanotto presuntuoso, Sir Gregory.
I hope that you will teach this pretentious young man some manners, Sir Gregory. It looks like I won't be just making friends here.
In any case, my lord, I doubt the English crown will agree.
Ich versichere Ihnen, Emily, nie Preußen wird diese Vereinbarung akzeptieren.
I assure you, Emily, the Prussian will never accept this agreement. Volner looks like he's set on ruining Mortimer's plan.
Duchess, I am persuaded that we shall find a common ground.
That's enough, William. These are grave times. We don't care about the fate of Louisiana. That worthless expanse of putrid swamps interests no one but yourself.
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Hold on there, Mr. Royal Gigolo. Lower the volume, and let Sir Gregory finish.
Holm, Godoy, and now Volner? Mortimer's adversaries are ready to tear each other to pieces, and he takes a malicious pleasure in watching it happen.
How dare you!
Gentlemen, let us try to remain calm.
There you are, William. See where your projects have taken us, as per usual. Chaos! That's enough. I'm tired. We shall continue this discussion tomorrow, but please be aware that your project will never be ratified. Those who are opposed to this project, follow me. Are you coming with us, Monsieur de Richet?
Come, Gregory, I think Louis would rather stay. Wouldn't you, Louis?
As for me, I think I shall remain with Lord Mortimer, Sir Gregory.
You are committing a grave error, Louis.
Time will tell.
My friends, I would like to thank you for staying.
Good God, William. What is this I hear about you reinforcing military power in Louisiana? I have no interest in having France for a neighbor, and you know that very well.
Calm down, George. Louis, explain our plan to Mr. Washington, please.
You see, Mr. President, Lord Mortimer anticipates that once France obtains Louisiana, they will cede it to you.
What do you mean? To us? The United States?
You heard right.
But
President Washington, the United States will double in size.
By what miracle have you...
You need to expand, George. You and France are the two major democracies in the modern world. It is necessary that you both become superpowers.
Are you really going to sponsor democracy throughout the world?
Of course, Monsieur Peru. That's why I don't want Spain to get too attached to those wetlands. Please continue, Louis. Explain my vision to Mr. President.
Mr. President, Lord Mortimer intends for you to conquer all the North American continent. He's relying on you to not stop at Louisiana, but to continue to push west.
Indeed, it would be dishonest to pretend that this is not my final objective.
But why didn't you tell me before?
So that Lord Mortimer would appear to be isolated without support.
Exactly. You got it, Louis.
Lord Mortimer retains the advantage by advancing undercover. And for it to work, he needed you to act surprised.
William, you haven't changed. Always one step ahead.
One step ahead? You're joking. More like 5.
On that note, my friends, it's getting late. Mr. President, continue to take offense over my project when we resume the conference in the morning, you do it to a T. And if Sir Gregory has the audacity to send you an emissary to convince you to go against me, do me a favor. String him along if you can. The more they believe we are divided, the more we'll have our hands free.
Only too happy to oblige.
Now, let us get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Louis, if you have a minute, I would like to ask a favor of you. I'm going to require your services.
How can I be of help? Tell me all about it.
Our adversaries are many, and the closing vote of the conference will soon be upon us. Time is of an essence, so I'll need you to assist me this evening.
How can I help?
I need you to go this very evening to persuade Signor Godoy to join us. He is the backbone of Gregory's resistance. Turn him round, and all the others will follow in such a stampede that Gregory will be able to do nothing but admit defeat.
Lord Mortimer, with all due respect, don't you think I'm the last person Godoy wants to talk to?
I'm sure you can do it. I believe in you.
Lord Mortimer, you're not telling me everything.
Let's say I wouldn't disapprove if the Right Honorable, though nonetheless choleric, Duke Manuel put you in his bad books. If it could motivate him to declare war on France, it would greatly serve our interests.
War? What do you mean?
I told you before the conference. The more we distract Spain from the Americas, the less it will have an eye on Louisiana.
But all the same, we're talking about a war in Europe.
Don't worry. That's why Mr. Bonaparte is with us. I am convinced we'll be perfectly capable of managing the conflict. And Signor Godoy is not a great soldier. He will not commit Spain to a long war that he won't be capable of managing.
I'll go straight away.
Thank you, my boy. And get some rest afterwards. Big day tomorrow.
Aren't you afraid our projects for Italy may be discovered before we... Oh, please excuse us, Louis, but I need to speak with Lord Mortimer in private.
No. What do you want, Louis?
When are we supposed to vote?
The conference resumes tomorrow morning. That leaves little time for the little favor I spoke to you about.
Indeed. I'll go straight away. I'm going to have a word with Duke Manuel, but you know him better than I do, I believe.
Yes. Avoid any marks of respect and protocol pertaining to his rank. He's not fond of courtly manners.
Thank you for the advice, my lord. I shall be leaving you.
Sir, the conference is about to begin. You are expected in the conference room.
Tell them I'm coming. Thank you.
Come on, Louis. The game is back on.
My friends, the conference is about to begin. Please excuse me if I troubled you last night with my project. I understand that you might well have a few questions to ask. As you know, the final vote will be cast in a few days. This morning's aim is to answer your questions and check the temperature of your respective positions so that we may reach a greater understanding.
As always, Lord Mortimer.
We parted in perfect disagreement, my lord. Where would you like us to take it from?
Come, sir. Please let William believe he still has a chance of winning us over. Otherwise, his imprecations will lack panache, and we shall be bored stiff.
Oh, let me reassure you, I am convinced that a good night's sleep has brought sound advice, and that this morning will be even more interesting. Therefore, I would like to go around the table in order to hear everyone's first impressions.
Well, I am still firmly against it, even though my choice won't count.
Against.
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 And you, Duke Manuel?
Well, you see, it is more complicated and it...
Godoy?
Calm, Gregory. don't try to impress my guests, please.
They are not your guests.
Gregory, anyone under my roof is by definition my guest. You included. I would be very grateful if you would let my guests speak. Duke Manuel, you were saying you still had some doubts?
Well, you see, the situation has changed since last night.
What's going on here, my Lord Duke?
You see, I gave it some thought during the night. New arguments have come to light. After a discussion with Monsieur de Richet last night, I have decided that Spain will join the coalition against France and will go to war as soon as I get back. I am a man of conviction and of honor. And the way that Monsieur de Richet came to me to manipulate me into joining your side, Lord Mortimer, is unacceptable. Furthermore, I refuse categorically your project about Louisiana.
You reap what you sow, William.
I do not believe that Monsieur de Richet meant to upset you, but you have every right to react in this way.
Well, as for me, I am for Lord Mortimer's project, despite Duchess Hillsborough's overwhelmingly convincing nocturnal attentions.
What? So Emily was playing at trying to win over guests last night?
It was nothing more than a friendly little chat, of course.
How could it be otherwise? And by the way, remember me to your husband when you see him. And you, President Washington, what is your position?
For, of course.
Well, that leaves just yourself and Monsieur Peru, Louis.
You're all making me sick. Look at yourselves.
What?
You are pathetic!
Have you been drinking or what?
There you are, quibbling away. My Lord Duke this, and Madame Duchess that. You know very well that we're nothing but puppets on a damn string.
Jacques, really?
Let's end the charade. It's over!
Jacques.
My lord, thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. But it didn't come for free. And now I see the price is too high to pay. I'll stop.
Come, Jacques, we'll talk it over.
No, I'm finished. I want my freedom back, my lord. I shall no longer work for you.
Wait!
De Richet, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man!
Monsieur, I know I don't really know you, but you seem like a decent person.
I have done so many horrible things!
You blame yourself, I can see that. Everything's not lost.
I don't want to do bad things anymore.
You can take control of yourself again. You can fix whatever it is you've done.
Do you really believe that?
Of course, Jacques. You'll have all the time you need. Jacques, you're not alone.
There's nothing you can do against him.
Of course there is. We've already started.
How can you say that, knowing he's already probably gotten rid of your mother, Louis?
No, he hasn't. She's still here. She's alive, Jacques.
But...
Yes, trust me. This is not who you are. You're better than that.
You don't know me.
Yes, I do. I know you're no coward, so give me your weapon, please.
But
There's nothing to fear. I'm right here.
I don't want him to talk to me.
Don't worry. You're safe now, Jacques.
Monsieur Peru, you could have seriously hurt someone if Monsieur de Richet here hadn't stopped you. Your behavior is unacceptable. You would do better to go and rest in your apartment. My friends, we shall continue the conference later. I would like to apologize for the inexcusable behavior of my guest. We all need to recover from all of this excitement. Take the rest of the day off.
This is like a bad dream. For what reason?
That makes no sense
I don't understand. I spoke to him only recently.
Monsieur Peru has lost his mind. It's obvious.
Yet another way for the French to make a spectacle of themselves. Well, once again, it has worked.
My friends, let us settle down, please. We are all in shock, of course. Let us celebrate Louis's courage. He enabled us to avert a tragedy.
Yes, that was very noble of you, Louis.
You have given us all a fine lesson in courage.
Thank you.
He owes you his life. That's quite something.
That madman deserves to die.
We are providing Monsieur Peru with care, but rest assured, he is no longer a danger to himself or anyone else. I think everyone needs a little rest. Can you stay a moment?
Of course.
Louis, I wanted to thank you personally. I admire what you did to save Monsieur Peru's life. You have given us all a wonderful lesson in courage.
Don't mention it, my lord. You would have done the same. I was just quicker.
Humility is a fine quality, sir.
Where is he now?
In his room. I've sedated him. I don't want him trying to take his life again. Or, worse yet, attacking one of the guests. When in despair, Monsieur Peru is clearly a dangerous man.
Tell me, my lord, what did you expect of him exactly? I found it difficult to understand what his role was here.
In fact, I asked him here to speak about our collaboration. His mission was soon to come to an end, and I was hoping to persuade him to slow down. I had a few interesting missions abroad to propose to him.
Did you tell him that?
I just let him know that perhaps it was time to move on to something else.
On that note, my lord, I'll be leaving you. Have we covered everything?
Absolutely. Oh, Louis, one more thing, please. I wanted to thank you for your support during the conference. You've made the right choice, and it gives me tremendous satisfaction to have you with me on this project.
And much good may it do you, my lord. But look at the voters. It needs to be unanimous. And we just lost Peru. The battle is already lost, if you ask me.
Trust me, Louis. We still have a few more cards to play. You'll see. Anything can happen in politics.
I'll see you later, my lord.
Wait!
Dorishe, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man!
Jacques, everyone's getting a little heated, so let's take it easy a moment. You're not going to kill anyone. You're going to calmly put away your...
This is like a bad dream. For what reason?
That makes no sense
I don't understand. I spoke to him only recently.
Monsieur Peru has lost his mind. It's obvious.
Yet another way for the French to make a spectacle of themselves. Well, once again, it has worked.
My friends, let us settle down, please. We are all in shock, of course. Let us praise Louis's gesture anyway. You did what you could.
Yes, it was very noble of you, Louis.
It wasn't your fault.
There was nothing else you could have done.
I think everyone needs a little rest. Can you stay a moment?
Of course.
Louis, I wanted to talk to you a moment about what has happened. All this is tragic, but I wanted to thank you for doing what you could.
I wasn't able to save him.
You couldn't, Louis. You mustn't blame yourself. It is not your fault.
I know this has nothing to do with me, my lord, but don't you think you're partly to blame? It won't escape your attention that he incriminated you before he took his own life.
I heard what he said, yes. Monsieur Peru appeared to blame me for his condition. I certainly encouraged him to succeed, but I wasn't aware he couldn't handle the pressures of the situation. Of course, his duties in Paris were very difficult. The choices he had to make were burdensome. But that was the path he had chosen. Should I not have helped him to succeed, perhaps?
Did you push him into it?
I wouldn't say push, but I did encourage him, yes. I thought it was my duty to help him as much as I could, to become the court judge he dreamed of being. I thought he was capable of it. It appears I was mistaken, unfortunately. What a pity he didn't come and speak to me. What a waste.
What are your plans now?
What do you mean?
For the conference. After the disappearances of both Elizabeth Adams and my mother, and now the death of Mr. Perlu, I should imagine that your guests are all packing their bags.
This might come as a bit of a shock to you, perhaps because it was so difficult to bring all these figures together. But I am convinced that none of them is preparing to leave.
And you endorse that? For God's sake, that's totally immoral.
Morality and politics don't go well together, my boy. Like water and oil, they cannot mix. By definition, politics is not immoral as much as it is amoral. It must not take into account any morality that would constitute a hindrance. Otherwise, it could not be free to make tough decisions.
Do you realize what you just said?
It's a question of duty, Louis. Look, morality evolves over time and differs depending on the habits and customs of each country. It must not be a criterion. What we are doing here, Louis, will change the very face of the world. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is our duty. The future is in motion, and nothing must stop it.
If you say so. Allow me to take my leave, please.
Of course. You ought to get some rest. Oh, Louis, one more thing, please. What a pity you didn't support me during the conference. I hope I can count on you on the day of the vote. This major project needs men like you, Louis.
And you never know, right? Maybe by then, I'll see things differently.
Well, thank you for allowing me to believe in that possibility, Louis. From here on, I shall make it my mission to persuade you to change your vote.
Be my guest. But I hope your arguments are very, very persuasive, because I'm not the only one who isn't on your side.
Oh, rest assured, I am working on it.
Very well then. I'll see you later, my lord.